I want to talk about this for a second. I'm gonna bring up an issue. I'm gonna make a problem out of this that nobody was thinking about or talking about, and you're not gonna like it because um, it seems like I did not intend to make a problem over this issue, but hear me out. This NFL game is on, and anybody who knows me knows that I don't watch the NFL. I have, I will occasionally select one or two games out of the season, more or less, just to see if they're making any progress um, as an organization. That this just to see if it's any better than the product that I abandoned is. I quit watching when the the St. Louis Rams left, and that wasn't the reason that I quit watching. It just happened to be like the final nail in the coffin. That was like the it gave me a reason to hit the door. Um, I had one foot out the door on it for a long time, and based on the way they govern things, the way the game's officiated, and all of the different political organizations, other organizations that were infiltrating, like just penetrating the league and getting involved. Like it's almost like the league wasn't a private business; it was almost like a government business. Because you had you had to accommodate for all of these different agendas. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. But the way they handle it, like I said, officiating, replay reviews a joke. It's been a joke ever since. It's still a joke now. Some of the rules are a joke. I don't watch this. I don't watch this product. But the television, it's a smart TV, and it knows some stuff about me, and it's got algorithms and whatever. And I guess it just assumed, based on what it knows about me, that this would be the thing that I want to watch. So I turned. It's a new. It's a new. It's a new service provider. I'm using Sling now. Um, I like a lot of other Americans. I switch services a lot based on what's being provided and how much it costs and stuff. This is my first experience with Sling. I've just about run through everything now, but Sling pulled this up and said this is what you're watching tonight. So I'm not actually watching it. It just is on. It came on with the television. And there's an interception. I hear a lot of good things about that quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. That was a team I liked when I was a child, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. That is not the point. The problem that I've accrued with this, like I said, it's like it just came on. I muted it. I saw that Joe Buck is calling the games, and I'm glad that he's still got a job. I didn't know. I didn't know what he was doing. Hadn't heard anything out of him, but I did see him in the booth. So I guess he's doing that. Anyway, so as the game plays on, I'm not looking for problems. I'm actually not wanting to pay attention to it at all. As most of you know, today is September 11th, 2023. And so that to me is always a somber day every time it comes around. Uh, it's like it's for anybody who was around at that time, for me it's somewhat of an emotional day. Um, but and I observe it. Personally, I observe it, honor it, kind of to an extent, I guess. Um, but it just has a different emotional hit than any other day for me because I personally it was unforgettable. It's an unforgettable thing. It was a terrible thing. Um, and when I recognize that it is that day, it changes the course of my day and the way I go about my thinking for that day and stuff. But um, it hasn't. I haven't thought about it too much today. I did stumble upon which was really uh uh coincidental, but a military funeral today that I've actually never seen that like up close. But I actually got stuck next to a military burial today. It was a traffic issue, and the site happened to be right next to the road, and I was like, oh wow, that's something I've never really experienced or seen, but it was pretty cool and sad and all at the same time. But it just happened to be today of all days, September 11th, on the anniversary of that. But um, the in this football game, let's get back to this here. You'll notice that the people like the personnel, the coaching staff and all, they're wearing these hats to honor. You can't see it here, but I'm sure if you're watching the game and paying attention, they're talking about it some and showing the hats. But they're wearing these hats that a lot of people did. Well, it was really baseball season when. Oh, well, football teams must probably did it too, but they would after the attacks, okay, directly after the attacks, somebody somewhere said, "Hey, we need to acknowledge the the New York City Fire Department and the New York City Police Department. We need to acknowledge them because they weren't really um at the forefront at all. The towers were at the forefront. The people in the towers were at the forefront of this attack." And so, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's do that. Let's acknowledge and it is a good idea. It was a good idea. But I think it's kind of strange that now, 20 years later, now hear me out. See, there's a FD, Fire Department New York, and then a lot of them are wearing the New York PD. And Roger Goodell is actually sitting in the booth I saw a while ago with a camouflage hat on with one of those NYPD or something on it. And he was sitting there talking to a military veteran or military member, looked like a high-ranking Marine of some sort. And so watching this in silence, I actually think it's all a little bit weird how they're honoring 9/11 now. Because I thought it was a good idea weeks after when they finally started playing sports again after the event happened. I thought it was a good idea to honor um, fire department personnel and New York police department personnel, and they just brought up, like I said, military personnel um, on here, but that was a side thing. Like the real ordeal, the actual event was an attack on American citizens, like free citizens. It had nothing to do with the police department, the fire department, or the military. Uh, and I think that maybe they lost sight. It was the NFL loses sight of everything. They're ran by a bunch of freaking morons. But the real attack was not on the military. It wasn't on the police. It wasn't on the fire department. Everybody knows about Pearl Harbor, and the attack on Pearl Harbor was a direct attack on the United States military. And so when you think of Pearl Harbor, you think of the attack on military personnel. it wasn't really an attack on the United States citizens. In fact, there really hasn't been one until 9/11. And to I think it's important to keep the focus. The focus of 9/11 is as an attack. Nobody wants to say it for some reason, but it was an attack by Muslims. You can say extremist or whatever. I don't care what you call it, but they were part of Islam. They were Middle Eastern Islam people who attacked American citizens directly, which is a much bigger thing to me than an attack on a nation's military. So I don't know what they're saying. I haven't had the game. I haven't had the audio from the game on, so who knows what they're talking about. Maybe they're bringing it up, but I just think it's strange that 20 years later they're still doing this NYPD, New York Fire Department stuff, and even Roger Goodell's got a camouflage hat sitting talking to a Marine. I don't know. I don't know what the Marines had anything to do with 9/11. Um, really don't know. What it's like when you sign up for the U.S. military, whether it be the Army, the Navy, Air Force, or Marines, or National Guard, or Coast Guard, any of that kind of stuff. You're signing up. You're signing your life away to an extent, whether you're ignorant to that or not. Uh, and same thing kind of goes with fire department, especially in a city like New York City, and a police department, especially in a city like New York City. When you sign up for these kinds of things, you're putting your life on the line, and people are, uh, and you're getting paid to do it, and the pay that you're getting comes from me. Like, people take money from me. I have no choice. I can't say that you can't take my money. I don't even have a choice in it, in that whole matter. So people take money from me to give to you, and you might die. And it sucks. It's a sucky thing when they do, but it's all part of the job. And so I think, like, in this instance here, in this moment here, I would um, rather not see the fire department, NYPD, and military personnel um, put out on display like they are with their hats and with the cameras and everything. It's about the people that were in the buildings, the private citizens who were attacked that day. Uh, and if they can figure out if they could figure out a way to honor them instead of government officials, I mean, it's I'm not gonna watch NFL either way. This is just, I mean, I think the whole thing's a joke, but oh, I mean, clearly, is that there's nobody somewhere saying this whole thing was about the people who were in those buildings. 'Cause they went, you have no idea and don't even want to know. Most people don't want to know what these people went through, going about their everyday lives that they went and got an education for to feed their families and stuff like that. What a lot of those people went through on that day was just horrendous. Just not. It's not supposed to happen. Um, and so I would put, like, I thought it was cool that they honored the government people afterwards, but the focus should be, and should have always been, the main focus is on the people in those towers. And if they could have honored that more in this event here, if the hats, would just have, I don't know, names of people who were in the tower. I don't know what you put on the hats. Maybe just a couple pictures, maybe just the two towers themselves, a graphic of that. But you know, I'm just kind of sick of all the government honoring stuff. It's I don't I just that's that. That's just coming from a poor working class citizen.